Hey guys, this is Pedro back with another interview, this time covering VCT Pacific Stage 2 for playoffs. My guest at this time is SilKanoN of Nongshim RedForce, this time coming off of their match against T1 in the lower bracket where they came out on the losing and thus seeing their run in said playoff phase come to an end. And so, SilKanoN, thank you so much for the opportunity for this quick interview. And of course, commiserations on this series loss. Tough way to go down to a T1 team given the tight schedule. First and foremost, how are you feeling?
지금 현재 기분이 어떠실까요?
사실 좋지도 않고 싫지도 않아요.
Um, it's not good, but it's not bad.
I mean, for sure. I mean, I do understand like this is pretty very recent, just having to stomach this result. But as the coach, have you been able to like kind of like sit down with the players and just talk a little bit about the result and what went wrong or something like that?
이제 감독님도 감독으로서 경기 끝나고 난 뒤에 are you talking about today's match?
Yes.
오늘 경기 이제 끝나고 선수들과 경기 결과에 대해서 이야기를 나누셨나요?
아니요, 아직 일단 끝나고 바로 온 거라서 뭐 일단 다 졌어가지고 지니까 분위기가 약간 좀 그러니까 이건 아마 돌아가서 얘기할 거예요.
At the moment now, right now at the venue, since they had to face a loss, not everyone's not really in the mood to talk at the moment. So probably when they go back to when they go back, they're gonna talk about it a little bit more after they process the loss.
Of course, I understand. And you mentioned some interesting points in the press conference some moments ago before this recording about just having to work in a tough playoff schedule, a very tight schedule, having to play matches back to back to back in so little time. For you as the coach, how difficult was it for you to navigate this entire environment, given that there's a lot of pressure regarding how this performance will play into the rest of the season for you guys?
Can you repeat the last part?
Given the significance of the season, what might play into qualifying for champions, ascension, all that stuff.
이제 전에 스크럼에서 했었던 인터뷰에서는 좀 일정이 빠듯하고 이제 전반적으로 변경된 상황들이 많았잖아요. 그런 부분에서 감독으로서 올해 전 시즌에서 이제 압박감과 이번 스테이지 2에서 좋은 결과를 내어야 저희가 이제 챔스까지 진출하고 그다음에 잔류를 할 수 있는 상황이 되게 되는데 거기서 이제 본인이 얼마나 압박감을 많이 있었는지 물어봅니다.
압박감의 크기라고 하면 약간 압박감의 형태보다는 제가 사실 일부가 처음이잖아요. 퍼시픽이 처음이다 보니까 이게 막상 고난이나 약간 좀 그렇게 팀이 잘 분위기가 안 좋을 때 제가 올바른 방향으로 이끌어줄 수 없다라는 부분에 대한 좀 압박감이 좀 많이 느껴져서 그러니까 사실 챌린저스를 할 때는 그냥 내가 생각하는 게 맞고 그냥 내가 생각하는 게 조금 뭐 이게 정답에 가깝지 않나라는 약간 간편한 생각으로 좀 마인드에 임했는데 이게 퍼시픽에 와서 이제 내 생각이 틀렸다라는 생각이 들 때와 이제 방향성이 제대로 잡히지 않았을 때에 좀 압박감이 굉장히 크게 느껴졌던 것 같아요. 챌린저스 때는 그래도 이제 많은 일부 팀들과 연습을 하면 이제 아무래도 그래도 우리 연습 상대보다 지금 우리가 상대하는 팀이 더 못한다라는 생각을 가지고 있다 보니까 마음이 편했는데 지금은 연습 상대가 더 이제 수준이 낮고 연습 그 대회 경기 상대가 더 잘한다라는 생각이 있다 보니까 이걸 좀 어떻게 방향을 이끌어줘야 될까라는 고민과 약간 그런 압박감을 좀 많이 느꼈던 것 같습니다.
It says overall the main pressure that he feels is comparing his coaching experiences while in the tier 2 against tier 1. And as the Pacific League Tier 1 is like it's also his first time as well as for the rest of his players, the difficulties that the team has to go through is mainly on the point of when the team's atmosphere, overall mood, and the vibe is not really good, and the fact that he has the pressure of trying to lead the team to the right direction is where the main pressure comes from. So, for example, when he was in challengers, he always thought that what he's doing is right, and his plans as well as his strategy and overall direction of where the team is going is basically the closest to the answer that he wants to see. But and also since they were able to practice a lot with tier 1 teams while they were in tier 2, he kind of felt that tier 2 is a lot more have a less competitive kind of opponents. But when he came to tier 1, the Pacific League, it was a lot more different because like the opponent teams on stage were far better than the tier 2 teams that they had to scrim while in Pacific, and overall he had more pressure in trying to choose the directions that where the team needs to go to because he wasn't really sure of himself as well. And that's basically the main points that he kind of felt throughout the season.
You guys now bow out of stage 2 in 5th and 6th place is similar to the mark that you left at kickoff, same place at 5th and 6th. It kind of feels like there's this barrier that kind of prohibited you guys from going any further. Um, in comparing how this team performed in playoffs in stage 2, stage 1, and kickoff, is there a similarity behind how the team fared with struggles of facing off against superior opponents, or do you feel it's different in just how the team performed in each stage that led to the elimination?
전반적으로 스테이지 2에서도 저번 시즌 킥오프와 뭐 스테이지 1처럼 비슷하게 5, 6등으로 마무리를 했는데, 이제 그럼 이번 스테이지 2에서 전에 있었던 시즌보다 스테이지들보다 뭐 더 못하거나 더 잘하거나 그런 것보다 좀 비슷한 부분들이 많았잖아요. 그런 부분에 대해서 이제 스테이지 1 킥오프 그때에 비해서 어려움이 비슷한 게 있었는지, 아니면은 뭐 이번에 스테이지마다 다 각자 다른 문제점이 있어서 그렇게 된 건지 여쭤봅니다.
스테이지 각자마다의 문제점이 있었고요. 킥오프는 아무래도 지면 금방 끝나다 보니까 문제 파악을 좀 하기 어려웠는데, 스테이지 1이랑 스테이지 2 준비하면서 아무래도 일단 첫 번째로 메타가 이제 갑작스럽게 변하는 거에 대해서 작년이랑은 다르게 좀 잘 적응을 못했던 것 같고, 두 번째는 좀 소신껏 저희 방향성과 색깔을 조금 지키면서 갔어야 하는 부분이 있는데, 근데 이거는 뭘 했어도 계속 후회했을 것 같아서 이거는 딱히 그런 건 상관이 없을 것 같고, 스테이지 2 막상 와보니 이제 새로운 이제 원래 같이 했던 코치 영입과 이제 새로운 선수를 리빌딩하면서 거기에도 적응하는데 시간이 꽤 걸렸던 것 같아서 그냥 좀 스스로도 느꼈지만 그냥 좀 경험 부족이다라는 생각을 계속했습니다. 제가
I think that regardless of which season, each stage had a problem of its own. For example, in kickoffs, if you lose, we're out, so we didn't really have time to figure out what was the problem. For stage 1, there was a sudden change in the meta, which they had a difficulty trying to adjust to it. And stage 2, since we had the new the coach that we had last year, as well as a new player in the roster, there was a short amount of time they had to adjust to that. But overall, the main point is that it kind of feels like he needs more experience.
Of course, and as you now gear from end of Pacific and move on to try to retain your spot in Ascension, if there's one thing that you can kind of look at and say, okay, this is our biggest strength, and we will take this forward into this upcoming competition, what would that one thing be?
이제 어센션에 이제 가게 되시면서 뭐 농심 레드포스라는 팀에서 이제 하나 최대의 장점 이것만으로도 우리가 어센션을 이길 수 있다. 뭐 이런 게 있을까요?
음, 저는 지금 같이 해왔던 선수들이 상대가 체급이 높거나 좀 유명한 선수면 좀 긴장하거나 생각이 많아지는 부분이 아무래도 저는 독이 됐다고 생각을 하는데 어센션에는 아무래도 좀 뭐 저희가 흔히 말해서 2부라고 이야기도 할 만큼 뭐 그렇게 인지도 있는 선수랑 높은 수준이라고 생각을 안 하기 때문에 그냥 그런 자신감과 좀 그런 많은 생각을 하면서 게임을 하지 않을 것 같아서 오히려 그 부분에서 좀 쉽게 이길 거라고 생각은 하고 있습니다.
Says overall, each of his players, that some of them they get really anxious or nervous whenever they have to go up against a really prestigious team or a really strong team. But in Ascension, as it's only tier 2 teams that will compete, he thinks that the rest of his players will be a little bit less anxious or less nervous and be more confident in their play styles and get back to their usual performances.
No doubt, you guys will definitely look to do exactly that. SilKanoN, thank you so much for the opportunity for the interview. Thank you so much for participating in VCT Pacific. Hopefully, we can see you again next year. So thank you very much.